be perfect. It just has to be done. Okay. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Nicole and I am a digital illustrator and comic book artist. Well, in the making, but still a comic book artist. And today I'm going to be walking you through how to come up with a story idea, going from the first spark of imagination all the way to the storyline. The skits. This will be my first video on a series about the creation of a one-shot comic, using my upcoming one-shot being Nia as the basis for everything. I am still learning how to do this whole comic thing, so this should be interesting. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see how I'll be approaching creating my first one-shot comic. That said, let's start with the whole thing by going to how I even come up with a story idea. It usually starts with a source of inspiration, such as my favorite music genre, my favorite movie genres, my interests, my favorite book genres, and my beliefs. They kind of all mix up and influence different ideas, some good, some horrible. I usually let an idea dance in my brain for a long time, and having a song that clicks with the main character, no matter how vague they may be so far, it is important for me when it comes to making sense of my story idea. Sometimes I just ask myself, what if? What if someone was living a double life, not because they wanted to, but because they had to? What if someone held the answer to prolonging life? For being Nia, the idea was pretty much a mashup of interest in action comedy movies, stories, organized crime, the consequences of fighting oneself, and breaking free from one's upbringing. More so, I asked myself, what if I were the daughter of a dangerous man and trying to live a normal life, but things did not go according to plan? That alone was enough for me to entertain it into a more tangible story. I look for songs that feel right, and I know they feel right when I can imagine my main characters in a movie scene with that specific song playing in the background. I keep adding more details to the story as I keep asking about the characters' goals, turmoils, strengths and weaknesses, and pressing issues. I can also use ChatGPT to help me make more sense of my story if I keep hitting a wall or I just want a starting point. So if I have a very vague idea of the story I want to tell, I can always use ChatGPT to help me further develop it. Let me show you one example of how I use ChatGPT for it. As you can see, ChatGPT will give you a mildly generic story idea, and that's why I say that it is best to use it as a starting point. You can always just keep on asking more questions or adding suggestions to help refine your story, but at some point I advise you to step away from it and actually use your brain. You'll be surprised at the story's ideas it will offer you. With the story at hand, I needed a basic guide on how the story would pan out and make sure that there were no loose ends, seeing that this is a one-shot comic. That said, I needed to think of my beginning, middle, and end. The end was the most important one for me because if I do not know where I want to go, I will waste my time and exhaust my energy and passion for this project. So, when I usually think of my endings, I think about two possible endings. A positive one and a negative one. Do I want my story to have a positive ending, or do I want people to bawl their eyes out and my characters hanging by a thread? Do I want to show a morbid ending to things, or do I want a peaceful and heroic resolution to everything? I also asked myself if I want the end to be open-ended or close-ended. As it, do I want it to end in a way that leaves room for interpretation as to what could happen next? or where the story is heading, or do I want to make it clear that this is the end and there's nothing coming after it? Generally speaking, it is advised to keep one-shot comics with a close-ended ending because it's meant to contain the whole story. It's meant to be just one story. So that was my intention with being here, since I want it to be just one story contained in one issue-ish. But I know that this could be like a comic series if I wanted to. Nevertheless, I'm gonna make it a close-ended ending. So now I know my story ending, and it's just a matter of working down from there or up even. It depends on which makes more sense for me or how crazy I'm feeling. That said, this storyline is simply a guideline. If throughout the story editing I feel like things need to change to accommodate the characters' personalities, actions, or the result of said actions, I will change it. I'm not enslaved to it. This is my story and I get to choose how it will be told. After knowing the story I want to tell, I move on to the characters. And that's going to be the next topic in this series. That said, make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment what your suggestions and your video ideas if you have any for me. And also comment your experiences in coming up with story ideas for comics, books, or whatever you have to come up with story ideas for. And make sure to subscribe so you know when the next video is going to be up. That said, bye.